just realized I wasn't recording before. So I'm sorry, I just started the recording a little bit late. But for problem number 6, you can pause the video if you're watching it right now and read it carefully. And the answers are up. So do I have any questions on this one? I see one question in the chat. Go ahead and type it out.
I just ask it out loud since it's
Go ahead. Go ahead.
How is A and B right? Because it says that means that the number can also be 0, right?
Yeah. So think about it, because as long as you're not negative, you can still be 0, because he can decide, oh, you know what, this month I don't feel like buying any of the beat toys, you know?
But if, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
If you don't buy any toys and they don't get any money, like.
Right. So, okay. Is it a possible answer? Is it a possible scenario? Yes. Is it a good scenario? Probably not. But that doesn't mean it's not possible.
So they're just focusing on the possibility?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
So on the other hand, negative numbers are not possible. They're not viable. So even though 0 would probably be a bad business decision, it's still a possible answer, because you can have 0 toys, whereas you cannot have negative toys. Make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Good. You're welcome. Any other questions? All right. So 6, the other popular suggestion was number 7. So let's do that one as well. Okay. So Joni states that the 2 systems below are equivalent. Which statement is true? Oops. So if the 2 equations are equivalent, what does that mean?
They are the same.
They're the same what though?
Solution.
Same solution. Good. Same solution. So I can sit here and solve both of them and then check to see if they have the same answer, but that's going to take a long time. Instead, what you can do is you can look at the 2 equations and look for patterns. So does anyone notice any patterns for how I can go from the first system to the second system? I'll call this one A and I'll call the other one B. So look for patterns, look for ways in which they're related to each other. Are there any similarities? Are there any patterns at all? Okay, so Zakai just noticed how in B we have negatives. Well, I see this is -12, and I go over here and I look, this is -6. This is -8. That's -4. That's +2. And that's +1. So what's the relationship between this bottom equation and the other bottom equation?
Multiply by 2.
Yeah, so they share, in fact, they are multiples of each other. You can multiply this equation times 2, and it gives you that equation. Because 1 times 2 is 2, -4 times 2 is -8, and -6 times 2 is -12. So do you guys notice that? Does anyone have any questions on that? So you take the first one, you multiply it, you get the second one. But what about the top equation? Is this one a multiple? No, right?
No.
Because 3 doesn't go to 4, and this equation doesn't lead to that equation either. So it's not a multiple, but it is something else. Can anyone tell me what it is?
A sum?
It's the sum. So what does that mean, Daniela? How do I get those numbers?
You add the equations in A to get the top one in B.
Okay, so take a look at A. I'm just going to add just straight down. So what it means is I'm going to do 3x plus 1x, and then 1y minus 4y. So 3 plus 1 gives me 4x. Here, let me do this in blue. Hold on. Okay, 3 plus 1, I get 4x. How about the y's? 1y minus 4y. What does that give me? Minus 4y though. 1, yeah, negative 3y, good. And then 8 minus 6 is 2. And lo and behold, take a look, there it is. That's exactly what we have up here. So the bottom equation, so let's summarize what we just figured out. This one is the sum of system A. And the bottom equation is a multiple of the bottom equation in A. So now that we know that, look at the answer choices and see if you can get it. Couple seconds, read through the answers. And if you have it, you can send it in the chat. Good, I'm seeing lots of correct answers. Possibly D. Read it carefully. What did you say? D? Read it very carefully. There's one reason that it's not. There you go. Okay, so we just figured it out over here, but let me summarize it for you guys at home. So first of all, is she correct or incorrect? Are they equivalent or not equivalent? They are equivalent, yeah, because they follow the pattern that we just showed. So A and B are out. And now between C and D, it's all about reading very carefully because we just wrote it down. So the systems are equivalent because the top equation in system B is the sum of the equations in system A. Good. And the bottom equation in system B is a multiple of the bottom equation in system A. And that is what we found. So careful with D because D was saying that the bottom equation in system B is a multiple of the top equation, which that's wrong. It's a multiple of the bottom. So it's just make sure that you read it carefully. But at the end of the day, two systems are equivalent only if, it's only going to be equivalent if you have multiples or if you have the sum. So you always want to look for multiples. And if you don't see any multiples, look for the sum and see if that works. If it does, you're good. If it doesn't, then they're not equivalent. But what can you do just to make sure? What if you forgot the rules? What if you forgot how to do this? How can you figure out if they are equivalent? How do you do it the long way?
You like work the equation out?
Yeah, you got to work the equations out. You got to check it the long way. So I would solve equation A, solve equation B, and see if they match, see if they have the same answer. Okay, well, we're not going to do that right now because we don't have time. But does anyone have any other questions on this problem? Uh-huh. Okay, so Zakaya just brought something up, and that's actually a really good point. So she said she was going to solve both of them, which you can, like I just said, you can do that. She was going to solve both of them. But let's talk about which strategy would you use? So for equation or system A, would you use substitution or elimination? For A. You could use elimination. Can you use a substitution?
Yes.
Yeah, why? How come you can also do substitution?
Be,
So that you can use both, but specifically, what's good about that x?
it's
It's almost isolated. It's really close. It's almost by itself. So for this problem, you can use substitution or you can use elimination. Doesn't matter which one. But how about for system B? Can you use substitution in system B?
no,
No, why not?
because nothing is alone.
Nothing is alone. So for system B, you have to use elimination only. Can't use substitution. So probably the reason you couldn't figure that one out is because you were trying substitution instead. Okay. All right. So that was number 7. Let's go to number 2. That was another one. Yeah, definitely want to go over these, at least one of these. Do you guys prefer for me to go over number 2 or number 3? I only have time for one.
2.
2, 2. If you don't care, then you don't care. But does anyone have any strong desires for number 2 or number 3? You want to do number 3? Okay. So I got more votes for number 2, so I'll do number 2. But number 3 is kind of an interesting one. So if we have time, I definitely want to do that one too. Okay. Substitution or elimination? Substitution. 1 vote for substitution. Chris, what'd you say?
Substitution.
2 votes for substitution. 3 votes for substitution. Now, can you use elimination if you wanted? You could do both, but I'm going to go with substitution because more people voted for it. So I need to isolate one of my variables. Which one should I isolate, the x or the y? Okay, let's get x by itself. So I'm going to copy down system B. How do I get that x by itself?
You add y.
Good, we're going to add y on both sides.
Good afternoon, Jaguars. Hope everyone had a Jaguar Friday. Here's our afternoon announcement.
Okay, ignore the announcements. Now take this y plus 4, and now what do we do with it? Good, we're gonna plug it in, but this time I plug it into A, yeah.
Guidelines. Students, faculty, and staff, please remember that it is mandatory for everyone to wear a mask at all times. The mask is cover your nose, mouth, and chin. Again, please remember to wear your mask at all times.
All right, we're gonna distribute. So I got 6y plus 24 plus 4y
Do not know how to access your
equals
email.
24.
Please seek out from one of your teachers. Teachers, please.
Now what do I
please take
do?
the time to show students how to access their emails. Thank you. Before we begin, here's a motivational quote.
What do I do
You
next?
cannot go back and
Combine like
You,
Combine.
yeah, you can find like term.
Good.
by C.S. Lewis.
6 plus 4?
Afternoon announcement. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, good. They were nice and short today. I know that the bell will ring at some point, but I'm just gonna keep going. So I have 10y plus 24 equals 24. I'm trying to get y by itself. What do I do to both sides?
subtract 24.
Subtract 24. What happens? Yeah. I get 0, don't I? 24 minus 24 equals 0. Well, that's okay. I'm gonna keep going. That's okay, because I still need to get y by itself. All I gotta do is divide by 10. Well, what's 0 divided by 10?
0.
0. So what happens is that y equals 0. Which is fine. That's totally okay. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes students see that and they think it's wrong, but no, you're good. Y equals 0. Now what's the last thing I have to do?
You have to plug it into another equation.
Yeah, plug it back in. Does it matter which one I plug it back into?
Nope.
Do you guys think A is easier or B?
B.
Yeah,
B.
A is easy. What? Wait, y'all said A?
No,
Yep.
B.
B is easier. B is way
Oh,
easier. Hey, yeah, so thank you. No, not tomorrow. Wednesday. All right, so I'm plugging it into B. X minus Y equals 4. Plug in 0 for Y. Well, X minus 0 is just X. So X equals 4. So my solution would be 0, or no, 4, 0. So long story short, if you get 0, if you get X equals 0, or you get Y equals 0, don't think that you did it wrong. I mean, you can go back and check your work just in case, but that's still fine. That's still a correct answer. Any questions on number 2? Why did we separate the equations for B? Why did we? Because, well, okay, so because you could have done it 2 ways. You could have gotten the X by itself, or you could have decided to do the Y by itself, right? So it doesn't matter. We did it this way just because the people spoke and they said they wanted to do it that way. But if you want to do it the other way, you can also do it the other way. Any other questions? Cool. Okay. So we're a little bit low on time, but let's see. Number 3 was also popular. And number 5. So I'm going to do number 5, and if we have time, I'll do number 3 afterwards. Number 5 is also super important to work on. So system of inequalities. Let me erase, because I'm going to need some space over here. So I need to match. I need to match those equations with the correct graph. But what's wrong with those equations? What's wrong with them?
They're not in slope-intercept form.
They're not in slope-intercept form. They are in kind of standard form, right? So what happens is we can't do this problem unless we move things around and we turn it into slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So all I need to do is isolate the y. So what can I do to both sides of this equation to get y by itself?
To get Y by itself, just add 1.
Add 1 to both sides. Good. Can I combine 2x and 1?
No.
Nope. So I'm just going to leave it as 2x plus 1. But is that equation in the right direction?
Nope. Wait, yeah.
Not really, right? It's kind of backwards. It should be y equals mx plus b, not mx plus b equals y. So I'm just going to rewrite it in the correct order. But when I do that, I also need to flip the symbol. Because over here, we're reading it backwards. And since we're reading it backwards, if I want to read it forwards, I need to make sure I switch the sign. So we had to flip the sign. But now it's good. So here's my first equation. Second equation is a little bit harder, but it's the same exact idea. I need to turn it into slope-intercept form. So what do I do to get y by itself in this one? Add to or subtract? Subtract 2x on both sides.
And since there's a 2x, you just put a negative 2x.
Yeah, so negative 2x plus 10. And now, getting y by itself, I got to do what? How do I get that y all by itself?
Just, I think, no, you divide by,
Divide by 5, yeah. Positive or negative 5?
negative,
Negative. So what happens to the symbol in this one?
it stays.
It doesn't stay. What is that? What does it do? It flips. Because I divided by a negative, so it flips. And then I divide. So a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So I'm left with positive 2/5 x. And then 10 divided by negative 5 is negative 2. So I have two inequalities. Now I need to match them to the correct graph. How do I match? So I have two lines over here. I have two lines. How do I figure out which one I want to highlight in purple and which one I want to highlight in green? What do I look for? What do I look at? The y, yeah, look at the y-intercept. So over here, the y-intercept is -1. So I go to my graph and I go to the, positive 1. Here's the positive 1. So that's the one that I'm gonna highlight in purple. So that's my purple line for all 4 options.
This time, third floor is dismissed. At this time, third floor is dismissed.
All right, they're gonna start dismissing. Let me just finish this problem. We're almost there. Now I'm matching the correct symbol. So this one, less than or equal to, is it gonna be above or below?
I believe it's above.
Less
No, it's
than
below.
is below, yeah. And then this one is greater than or equal to, so that's gonna be
On top. On top.
above. Good. So which of those answer choices is below the purple line and above the green line? Careful. A is above both of them. See that?
C.
C, yeah. C goes above green and below purple. So it's C. All right, y'all. So that is all the time we have for today. Tomorrow, we're going to start reviewing exponential functions. And I will be putting up homework, but I wouldn't start it tonight. I would start it tomorrow night because you're going to want to wait until tomorrow's review. Okay. So I'll put it up tonight, but that doesn't mean you need to do it tonight. You have until Friday. But that's all for today. So have a nice day, everybody. If you are quarantined right now, I hope to see you soon. If you are testing anytime soon, come say hi to me because I am going to be here for the rest of the year. Have a nice afternoon. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Wait, Miss,
Bye, Miss.
Miss, you're gonna be there even during the summer?
No, I'm going to be here until, what is it, June 9th, and then I'm out of here.
Oh, okay. Bye.
Bye.